like to begin and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
The salute to veterans is going to be delivered by Mayor Tishaura Jones, the mayor of the city of St. Louis. Thank you so very much for being with us. It means the world to us as veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning. I am sincerely honored to stand here with you today at the Soldiers Memorial so that together we honor millions of veterans who have bravely served our nation. Veterans Day is personal for most of us. Many here today are veterans. Many others have one or more family members or friends who have served. And I'm honored to be joined today by several staff members who are also veterans. My director of the Office of New Americans, Gilberto Pinella. The president of the Board of Public Service, Rich Bradley. And I cannot forget one of the people who protects me every day, who's a member of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Force, Sergeant Renwick Bovell. Veterans issues are near and dear to my heart. My father is a veteran of the Vietnam War, and both of my grandfathers served in World War I and II, respectively, and my family has a history of serving in the military. As you all know, that meant that when my father got home, and until very recently, he didn't get the kind of respect that he and his brothers and sisters in the armed forces deserved. Today, most of us realize that our military service members do not choose which conflicts that they are called to. They just answer the call when their country needs it. Even if it means risking their lives or life-changing injuries and subsequent trauma. Today, finally, people like my father are allowed to hold their heads high as proud veterans. They are finally respected for the sacrifices they have made, and I am so thankful for that. Every year we get together to honor our veterans, and rightfully so. I think most of us imagine that if our loved ones were ever in harm's way, we would jump in front of a bullet for them. But with our veterans, it's not a question of imagination. We know that they would risk their lives for ours. We know that they have done so. And imagine if your brother or sister had pushed you out of the way of a speeding car, risking their own health. There's no way you would ever forget that. There's no way that you would ever thank them enough. And that's how I feel about our veterans, except they take on that risk time and time again, and they do it for all of us, for strangers, not just for their own loved ones. What incredible bravery that is. And so it's only right that we come together here today and that we honor our veterans on Monday and every day for what they've done for us. And to any veterans here today, personally, and as the mayor of St. Louis, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done for our country, and thank you for what you continue to do for our community. God bless.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. We certainly do appreciate your being with us and so appreciate your thoughts and the fact that you come from a military family, so you understand more deeply, and that shows in your sincerity. Thank you. And now we have the 2024 Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame induction. And who is going to be doing John Sastry Esq, CFP, the chairman of the Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame, is going to be coming up here, I do believe, and Major Army Intelligence Airborne. Yes. And you're going to be doing the presentation, right?
Good morning, everybody. Wow, that was really good. Thank you for that. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. The Soldiers Museum means a lot to me and my family. Many years ago, I took my children to the Soldiers Museum, and what I saw made me very sad. The exhibits were dilapidated, and the facility was dirty and neglected. I left there with a heavy heart. Now today, I stand here in this beautiful facility, managed by a conscientious veteran with a good team. It makes me proud to be an American, and it fills me with pride. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. I want to challenge all of you to put the word out about this wonderful facility. It's remarkable and historic, as you've learned today. Please tell your children and your grandchildren, your friends and neighbors about this. Let's drive the attendance here. And let's get a lot of traffic down here. I think it's a hidden gem in St. Louis. You hear so much about what's going negative in the city and in the region. This is one of the bright spots. So please put the word out about this facility. And thank you, Mark, for inviting me today. The Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame is an organization 100% founded and administered by veterans. We receive no government funds for our mission. Just Google the Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame and you'll find us. I also brought some brochures that I was hoping that you'd distribute, Mark. This is my second year of being invited to speak on Veterans Day, and it's truly an honor to me to be here. And today, I'm here to honor the Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame inductees who served during the Spanish-American War. How many of you are familiar with the Spanish-American War? That's more than I thought. Good job. Usually when I talk to the young people, they're really not familiar with a lot of the American history, and the Spanish-American War is one of the forgotten wars that America had. If you'll allow me, I'd like to give you a brief summation of what happened. The Spanish-American War is largely forgotten in history. That doesn't belie its significance to U.S. history, however. The war began in February 1898 with the sinking of the battleship USS Maine in the harbor of Havana, Cuba. The U.S., which was deeply divided from the Civil War, this isn't the only time, folks, the United States became united against a common enemy. From this war, Cuba and the Philippines were created, and Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Guam were added to U.S. territories. Also, this battle was a training ground for every high-ranking officer who later served in World War I. The Missouri National Guard supported the war with 6 regiments in an all-volunteer light artillery battery. Light Battery A, from here in St. Louis, was deployed to Puerto Rico, and another regiment saw service in Cuba. Today, I'd like to induct the following soldiers into our Hall of Fame. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to our website, Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame, you can learn more about these wonderful soldiers and also soldiers who were inducted in our previous classes. We have 2 Medal of Honor winners who we inducted in our inaugural class, by the way. The first inductee is Frank Rumbold, a graduate of Washington University here in St. Louis, and he was buried with full military honors at Arlington Cemetery. Our second inductee is Walter Grinnell from Kabul, Missouri, who later became a newspaperman and justice of the peace. Dr. Henry Rutherford, who saved many lives during the war, and later, in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, saved hundreds of people. He is buried with full military honors at Arlington Cemetery. Jacob DeWitt Houston, who served bravely despite being issued an outdated single-shot Springfield Model 1873, if you can imagine that. His wife was a full-blooded Cherokee Indian, and he and his wife were married nearly 60 years and passed away together within 4 minutes of each other. Could I please get a moment of silence for these brave Missourians? Thank you. Now, could I also get a round of applause for them since they can't be here today? Thank you very much. If you want to learn more about these inductees and our previous inductees, again, please feel free to visit our website. We have a permanent facility in the Adair County Historical Society in Kirksville, Missouri, and I feel very fortunate that Mark has partnered with us. Which brings me to something I wanted to present to Mark today. Mark, if you could come up, I'd appreciate it. Mark, we sincerely appreciate the support you give our organization and the opportunity to be here, and we wish you the best, and we're going to try our best to put the word out about this wonderful facility.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mark. And I have some brochures hopefully we can hand out. Thank you, and happy Veterans Day to all of you.
Thank you, John J. Sastry, Esquire, CFP, and Chairman of Missouri National Guard Hall of Fame, and Major, Army Intelligence Airborne. Thank you for being with us today. Now it is my pleasure to reintroduce, in a sense, if you were at the parade, you know he's been introduced once, but I get the opportunity to do it again. Lieutenant General Jered P. Helwig. He's a deputy commander of U.S. Transportation Command and entered the Army in 1994 through the ROTC program at Wheaton College, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Communications. His operational experience includes 2 deployments supporting Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, 1 deployment supporting Operation Iraqi Freedom in Iraq, and 1 deployment supporting Operation Joint Guard in Bosnia, and 1 deployment supporting Operation Uphold Democracy in Haiti. You could say he's been around. He earned a Master of Science in Public Policy from Georgetown University and a Master of Science in National Resources Strategy from the National Defense University Eisenhower School. His decorations and awards are numerous, and I think he would prefer if I just cut at that point because you feel sort of like, oh, shucks, when they're going through all of those. Major General, would you come and join us, please? Major General Jered P. Helwig. Thank you.
I appreciate we were talking earlier and I said, it's like a list of things and, mildly interesting to most folks, so it's good. Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity, Madam Mayor, team, great opportunity here to be here with you. Diana and I are really honored to have this opportunity today to really speak and be a part of these celebrations here in St. Louis. We're recently in the area. We moved from Hawaii. Our last duty assignment was there, and so July timeframe is when we came into this region. But we feel very much a part of the St. Louis community. Diana's family has been in the region for a long time. And so we always attribute coming back to St. Louis for Christmas and for Thanksgiving and for many other holiday events, summers and such. And so it feels very much like coming home to this area. So it's very appropriate to be able to spend this time together. Although coming from Hawaii, we did have to break out our jackets and stuff and realize that the weather isn't the same every day like it is there. But the weather is just one part of the thing. The warmth of the community is what really matters. Any good Army veteran or Army officer or anybody in the service would say, if it ain't raining, you ain't training. So it was good to be out there. Those young cadets really feel for the JRTC team that was right up there in front with the colors. We had a great chance to talk about, the importance of service, the importance of military service as an option for their future, and the fact that, this is kind of somewhat a taste of how it might be in the weather out there if you do decide to join. So like I said, it's an honor for me to join you today as we celebrate veterans and recognize all who have served in uniform to defend our nation with honor and unwavering dedication. Many thanks to the Missouri Athletic Club, the St. Louis Rotary Club, and who co-sponsored this event, as well as all the committee members and those who worked so hard to make today, earlier this week, and everything else so special for our veterans. It's been great to see all the parade participants marching in support of those who served who've served their country in uniform. And many of the veterans that we honor today entered the service with little understanding with what might lie ahead. I think most of those that I've talked to today and over the last couple days didn't really know what they were getting into necessarily. But like most things in life, the road ahead was murky, but the desire to serve was a North Star that guided them. Some joined seeking the opportunity to leave behind a tough past and to carve out a new road. Some were motivated by world events that served as a rallying cry to service. And others were just curious, looking to do something different. Regardless of the reason, the raising of the right hand began a journey that undoubtedly changed them forever. America's hope and future is built on this notion. Service to others over service to self changes people. It builds lifelong relationships. It builds people of character who are foundational to our democracy. Citizen service members willing to dedicate themselves to building a more perfect union. This commitment isn't easy and it isn't free, and it comes at a cost. And many have sacrificed other opportunities, certainly time with loved ones, mental and physical health, and some have made the ultimate sacrifice and laid down their lives for their friends. Families of veterans are also an important part of this journey. And while we have an all-volunteer force, family members are somewhat drafted into the service. Many leave hometown communities, switch jobs often, sacrifice careers, and move from school to school on a journey that can be very disorienting. To the family members out here that are supporting our veterans, thank you for your service as well. Again, thanks to all who have come out to support the parade, the events of today and the events of tomorrow. Take time this weekend, this holiday weekend, to reflect on the reason that we are here. Enjoy the time to remember that freedom is not free. And I am personally proud to stand with you and serve alongside you. God bless our veterans, past, present, and future, and God bless America.
Thank you, General. We certainly do appreciate that. Thanks for being with us today. And he had a lot of saluting to do out there as the parade went by. And finally, we have some closing remarks from Mark Sundloff.
Well, just thank you is the big message. Thanks for being here. I've been doing a lot of TV and radio interviews, and everyone kind of asks the same question: why is today important? And it's important for, I think, for two reasons. One is for the veterans' ability and opportunity to display their own pride in service. The fact that we want the community to know that we served proudly, and we're proud of what we did. And so today's that opportunity. And then the second layer to it is we need the community, all of you out here, showing veterans that we love them, that we respect them, and that we're extremely grateful for everything that they've done for us and for our country. And so thank you so much for taking, it was a little rainy, I know, but thank you so much for taking some time out of your weekend, setting a little bit of time aside and making this a good day. And one more thing, a little bit of a homework assignment, I guess. Please, if you know a veteran, whether it's a friend or a family member, just give them a call this weekend. You can call them today, call them Monday, and just check in on them and just see how they're doing. Tell them you're grateful for their service. Doesn't have to be a big to-do. Just take just a little bit of time, just 5 minutes maybe, and just catch up with somebody and let them know that you still think about them, let them know that you care about them, and let them know that you're grateful for their service. Thank you once again for coming out. Thanks to all of our dignitaries who were able to take some time to make some remarks. Greatly appreciated. And we'll close there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out. It's fabulous to see so many faces here. My name is Michael Vinso. I'm the Military and Firearms Curator here for the Missouri Historical Society and Soldiers Memorial. We're delighted you're here on this special day. I'm going to introduce our speaker, and she's going to speak about Veterans Day and the importance of Veterans Day from the French perspective as well as the American perspective. And so I'd like to welcome our special guest from the French Society, Isabelle Heidbreder.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Ooh la la. My name is Isabelle Heidbreder, and this is wonderful to see you here. I want to thank you for being there. This is something that is important. It's part of our history. It's much bigger than World War I. A little bit of who I am. I am the Honorary Consul of France in St. Louis, and it is my honor to be here in front of you today and to recognize, of course, the history of today, but also to recognize all the veterans that are here. How many veterans are here? Thank you so much. Thank you. Today is your day. My history with the military is kind of funny. I grew up in Toulon on the French Riviera, and Toulon happens to be a submarine base. And it is, for those of you who might have been in the Navy, in the late 70s, early 80s, I was a law school student, and I wanted a part-time job. And my mom had severe restriction on what part-time jobs could be. And there was one that I found, and I presented it as improving my English, which kind of fit the boxes that my mom had. And that was working for the USO. So those were some of the funnest years of my life for a little girl who couldn't get a date with a Frenchman. All of a sudden, I had a ship with like 400 men. Had not seen a woman in weeks. All of a sudden, my sex appeal went like way up, and I ended up marrying a serviceman, and this is why I'm here today and why I've made my home in St. Louis. So every morning at 7 a.m. I was awaking to the sound of and the colors went up right next to the apartment of my parents. So this is very near and dear to me. So here we go for November the 11th. Il y a déjà un peu plus de 7 heures en France, ce lundi 11 novembre 2024, à la 11e heure du 11e jour du 11e mois, heure à laquelle les combats qui faisaient rage depuis 4 ans, causant plus de 10 millions de morts et 20 millions de blessés, ont été suspendus en 1918. Les cloches ont résonné dans toutes les villes et villages de France, rendant hommage à nos poilus et à tous les soldats français et étrangers de la Grande Guerre morts pour la France.
7 hours ago in France, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, at the precise time the combats raging for 4 years ended in 1918, bells will ring in all French cities and villages celebrating and honoring the soldiers of the Great War who fought and died for France.
His English is so much better than mine. This is Dave Massey. When I speak English, people think I have a speech impediment or something. C'est au pied de l'Arc de Triomphe que notre président Emmanuel Macron, portant le bleuet de France à la boutonnière, ont commémoré ce matin le 106e anniversaire de l'Armistice de 1918 entre l'Allemagne et la Triple Entente, France, Grande-Bretagne et les États-Unis, prélude du désastreux traité de Versailles en 1919.
At the foot of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, that France and its President Emmanuel Macron, sporting the blue cornflower of France on his lapel, will celebrated its 106th anniversary of the 1918 Armistice between Germany and the Triple Coalition of France, Great Britain, and the United States, the prelude to the now infamous 1919 Treaty of Versailles.
And that was in France.
C'était en France.
Mais pour nous, à Saint-Louis ce matin, dans ce magnifique mémorial où nous nous trouvons, dont le président Franklin Delano Roosevelt a posé la première pierre en 1936 et qui a ouvert ses portes au public 2 ans plus tard, c'est l'occasion de nous souvenir de tous les fils et filles du Missouri à qui il est dédié.
For us this morning in St. Louis, at this magnificent memorial, whose first stone was laid in 1936 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and which opened its doors to the public 2 years later, it is the occasion to remember and honor all the sons and daughters of Missouri to whom it is dedicated.
Que des Français se soient battus pour protéger leur pays, leur liberté et leur famille est on ne peut plus compréhensible.
That French folks fought to protect their country, liberties, and families makes sense.
Mais année après année, la même question me taraude. Si loin des problèmes, si loin des jeux des politiques européens, si loin de chez eux, pourquoi tant d'Américains, de Missouriens sont-ils allés se battre pour un pays, pour des gens, pour des enjeux et une culture qui leur étaient totalement étrangers?
But year after year, the same question haunts me. So far away from the problems, so far away from the political games, and so far away from home. Why did so many young Americans, young Missourians, fight for countries, for people, for stakes and a culture that was so drastically different from theirs?
Parce que c'était juste, parce qu'ils croyaient en un idéal, parce qu'ils croyaient en un monde meilleur, pour ces 750 000 Missouriens qui se sont engagés, pour ces 156 000 soldats qui se sont battus pour nous et qui nous ont offert le meilleur d'eux-mêmes, pour ces plus de 10 000 hommes et femmes blessés ou qui ont sacrifié leur futur et leur vie, je n'ai bien qu'un modeste petit mot. Merci.
Because it was right. Because they believed in an ideal. Because they believed in a better world and made sure it would happen. This morning, to the 750,000 Missourians who joined the draft, to the 156,000 soldiers who fought for us and gave the best of themselves, to the more than 10,000 women and men who were wounded or gave up their futures and their lives, I have a very small, humble, and inadequate word to say. Thank you.
Thank you du fond du cœur. Thank you au nom de mes grands-parents. Thank you au nom de mes parents, de mon frère, de mes sœurs, de mes enfants et de toutes les générations présentes, passées et à venir. Merci à tous les vétérans qui se sont battus, se battent et se battront aux 4 coins du monde pour préserver nos libertés, l'intégrité de notre patrie, nos valeurs et nos vies. Ce jour, c'est le vôtre. Merci.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you in the names of my grandparents. I thank you in the names of my parents and in the names of my brothers and sisters and all the generations to come. Thank you to all the veterans who have fought and are fighting and will fight the four corners of the earth for our liberties, our integrity of our country, and values of our lives. Today we celebrate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isabelle and Dave. We greatly appreciate your partnership with Soldiers Memorial, which has been ongoing for many, many years. We'd like to conclude the ceremony by just taking a quick moment of silence in honor of those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you so much, and please take a minute. Thank you. We are grateful for all of the service of men and women of this country. Have a great day.